I had a very interesting suggestion for a video recently, and this was essentially the following question. What are the pros and the cons of joining a magical order or not joining one? And are there any I would recommend? So, one of the key things for myself as a very a long-term solitary practitioner, that doesn't mean that I don't have ceremonial or several working with several magicians or witches in group rituals. I've done that many times, and it's a different type of energy. But as a solitary Left-Hand Path practitioner, I have had the experience over 20-something years of experiencing different orders and noticing things I like and things I don't like. So I'm going to try to offer a few suggestions, and I'll mention a few Left-Hand Path Magickial Orders. If I don't mention an order, that doesn't mean I am against the order. That does not mean I am for the order. That just means that the ones that I am mentioning, I have a fairly close connection to or cooperation with, or at least a mutual respect concerning. That doesn't mean I'm telling you to go off and join them or anything like that. The Left-Hand Path, the journey of the initiate, if you're a Luciferian and looking in different directions, that has to be of your own intuition and your own instincts and based on what you can discover. If you need someone to guide you or tell you that you should do this or that, then you're probably not a Luciferian and you're not getting the key points of the foundation of which I've presented. It's very important as an individual that you develop and be able to listen to your intuition, your instincts. It's key. So the first thing I'll tell you is magical orders, specifically in the Left-Hand Path, there are specific schools of thought that present a way of approaching the Left-Hand Path. Now, these can be highly beneficial for a Luciferian, no matter if they're a satanic Left-Hand Path order or something other. Because what I found in Luciferian philosophy, specifically around the 11 points of power, and that's which is found in the work Apotheosis, the core tenets of Luciferianism are in harmony with the vast majority of Left-Hand Path schools of thought, including orders. That doesn't mean all of them, but it does mean at least the ones I'm going to mention. I encourage Luciferians who are interested in orders or things like that to look into different ones of what I'm going to mention, because there are different perspectives to take into consideration beyond my works or the works of Luciferian tradition. Find the traits that are the common harmonious similarities and how they can be adapted and approached to different ones if that's your interest. The first I'll say, obviously, is the Order of Phosphorus. So the Order of Phosphorus in recent years has gone very underground. And the purpose of that, or the reason for that, is that as a magical order, it is highly individualistic, and it really cannot be just any Luciferian joining. It's a magical order. It's an initiatory order. Someone who has my books, Bible, the Adversary, Adversarial Light, Fallen Angels, or other works like that, can actually perform a practice of initiation centered around the Order of Phosphorus. Now, The pros of specifically the orders I'm mentioning are a sense of guided structure, at least in the form of some textual information. Also, oftentimes, contact with other like-minded initiates. A sense of camaraderie if you find and develop personal relationships with other adepts over time. And I'd have to say the cons would be allowing yourself to get caught up in, and this is really for every individual because it starts and ends there, is the kind of garbage, profane chatter, the vain chatter, if you will, that you'll find in groups, specifically online forums. And the reason you want to avoid that is because it has nothing to do with Left-Hand Path. A majority of those who sit there and chatter and start fighting with one another are those who aren't doing much in the Left-Hand Path. And also it stains for your mind what the Left-Hand Path is. It is definitely not that. That's the furthest you can get away from that. Now, the Order of Phosphorus, I have to say, those adepts, all the way up to the priesthood and the magisters, and as being the magus of the order, I have seen so many, especially in the recent last year, so many serious, mature adepts. So that's not a big concern. I'm not going to post a link for the Order of Phosphorus because if you apply my works, like I mentioned, you'll get yourself to a point of where you'll find it. You'll find it and see how that goes. Now, the next order I will mention is one that I have experience with in the early 2000s, and this is specifically for those interested in the Temple of Set. Now, the Temple of Set has long been established and has a great kind of reputation as a Left-Hand Path school of initiation. You can look up their website, but the Temple of Set definitely provides a solid and strategic purpose of exalting, developing the black flame through, instead of what I would call in Luciferianism as liberation, illumination, apotheosis, the Setian would call it Kepher, or it's spelled like Zephyr, but Kepher, and it means to become. I could highly recommend the Temple of Set if that is the mindset of the Luciferian that's more aligned to a philosophical and very appointed methodology of initiation. Less mysticism, more actual work, and more to validate. So obviously the rewards will be there as well. We have also some other orders. There's one in Europe who I am friends with, the magus of this group, and that's the Dragon Rouge, founded or at least consistently overseen by Thomas Carlson, who is a PhD and a highly esteemed, very learned scholar and practicing magician from Sweden. Dragon Rouge and a unity kind of order that we are cooperating on the global night side movement is really a ideal place for the serious ceremonial magician, the serious hermeticist, the magician who will take all that they are reading, specifically narrow it down, and apply it in pragmatic, practical ways. That is key to initiation. Initiation is hard. And it is like the forge, like you see with in the Luciferian tradition, the Forge of Cain. Forge of Cain is that which you're going through. Your very mind, body, and spirit are on the forge, the weapon being shaped, transformed, and you're enhancing the black flame, your ability to perceive the power that you have, and how to use energy and direct energy towards ways of shaping the world that you exist in. That's what it means when I write, I am the only God, which is from the old Gnostic line of Samael or Yaldabaoth. The adversary within the circle of self, the very crossroads within the Ouroboros, and by that unity of Samael and Lilith, the beast or Baphomet becomes, and that's the symbol of the Black Adept. You are the only god or goddess that is in that moment, because you're the one who's responsible, accountable for your present and your future. Nothing else, no guiding deific mask, no guiding demon, spirit, deity, whatever. It's up to you. And even if you do have temptations brought before you, those are tests. And to embrace the devil or the adversary in that way, and to master those tests with balance and discipline, that is the key through the process of liberation, illumination, apotheosis. But back to Dragon Rouge, you can look them up. They're based out of Sweden, but they have many different offices, and they have a wide reach. I highly recommend them if ceremonial initiation with a lot of interaction as you wish is your thing. Finally, I'm going to mention the Sect of the Horned God. Now, I personally know both the Lord and Lady of that group. My wife and I know them. Great people. We had a great time when we over our different interactions. And we actually met at a Left-Hand Path conference in Portland, Oregon, a few years ago. Actually, some years ago now. But Thomas Leroy is a fantastic, kind of a successor in some ways of Anton LaVey, with a more spiritual aim, more balanced spiritual aim. He has aspects, traits that I've seen from LaVey from the 60s and 70s that haven't really been carried over by too many different Satanists or Luciferians, but Thomas does it well. But there's also something expansive with the Sect of the Horned God. One of their key advisors and brothers is a man who was the personal secretary to Anton LaVey prior. I think it was through the late 70s and 80s, or until his death in the 90s. And Jake Block, also a good friend of ours, who is just a fantastic, he's a photographer, and he's an advisor, and also interacts a lot with the Sect of the Horned God. Another reason, but they are focused on rational Satanism, but through spiritual development, mental development. So you'll see different avenues of initiation through the sect. So those would be the primary Left-Hand Path initiatory orders I would mention. That doesn't mean that there are others that I like or don't like or anything like that, as I mentioned before. But your pros is a sense of community, potential interaction. If you're a people person, then these can be a great tool for you. A lot of Luciferians tell me that they want more interaction, or like to have more interaction with fellow like-minded individuals. The cons of orders or guilds or whatever can be that you, and I haven't seen this with the ones I mentioned, but there is the danger in any kind, including the Order of Phosphorus, of the collective like forum where it's vain chatter or a dogmatic kind of atmosphere kind of prevails. And that is where there are specific buzzwords that you mention or don't mention in interacting with these people, and whatever the highest up's opinions of this or that is should be yours also. And if you disagree with it, well, you better have a damn good reason for why you're disagreeing with it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, a dogmatic view will limit and narrow your initiation. And like I've always said, those who enter into Luciferianism, you can apply the foundations in a thought magical sense and then the ritual sense, but then you want to explore different other avenues. That's great. You should. Just as long as you're serious about what you're doing at each period of time. Because if you're not, you won't get much out of Left-Hand Path initiation. You won't cross that abyss. And it requires effort and will. And I hope this has provided some insight into a very simplistic view of different orders and the benefits. Remember, as an individual, you're ultimately alone on your own. And this journey is your own, and it has to adapt to the life you live so that after the newness wears off and the struggle is building that energy and momentum, things in your life don't crash into that and make you make a decision for that or something else. It has to be in harmony, so find your way to adapt. Anyway, thank you very much. Have a great day. Panama Araman.